Hello everyone, welcome to Diamonds of Craft where I make things. My name is Sarah and welcome back after my 84-year hiatus. This one has been on my list for a while now, and what better time to get it out than for the second half of the third season of The Witcher. That is right, I made Geralt. It's a mix of both Henry Cavil's version and the game version. It has been a bit of a struggle, I'm not gonna lie, which is why it's taken so long for me to post this video. I do have a fan art feature this time. It's from Prismart Life, I hope that's right. And they drew Fern, inspired by the Fern that I made, which I absolutely love. It looks really, really amazing. If you do draw anything, I will feature it on this channel, so if you have something that you've drawn of mine or anything like that, just send it to me and let me know. So without much more waffling from me, I'll show you how I made him. For some reason, I cannot for the life of me find the footage of me preparing this action man to be repainted. However, it follows much the same process that Centaur did. I lopped the top of his head off, filled it with foil and glue, and remade his scalp. I just make sure that the foil is all smushed in nice and tight. This time I realised that I have to make the front hairline visible, and I had an idea which at this moment in time I thought would work great. So I basically sculpted the hair in like an action man would have. I mixed this Milliput up and started to fill the head in again. I then gave him a little widow's peak, since most of the artwork at least has a small one, and sculpted the hairlines to the best of my ability. The idea was if the top was sculpted okay, then it would be fine to just add hair on with glue and I wouldn't need a lot. This is how he looks after sculpting. Before I added hair, I figured I'd do his face and body. I did add some scars with extra Milliput I had left over. The action man just needed a dusting with some pan pastels and he was ready for a face-up. With these action man types, they are really heavily sculpted. Not like with the Ever After High where the faces are smoother, but like full on, this is his face. And unless I shave some of it off, it's not going anywhere. What I'm trying to say, like I say in almost all of my videos, is that I'm not going for an exact replica. It won't be Henry Cavil and it won't be Geralt game version exactly, it's Diamonds of Craft version. I give him his yellow gold eyes, fill in some eyebrows, and now I'm trying to make him look a little more haggard with shadows. Geralt has seen some things, man. For his beard, I also didn't want to sculpt that on, so he has more of a 5 o'clock shadow. For this, I just did dark pastels onto his chin and then added some individual hairs. I did give him a Henry Cavil chin dimple. I couldn't resist. Now I added scars to him, and in reality I did not need to. I could have done a bath photo shoot, but I didn't think about that, and as you'll see later, his clothes are not coming off. Maybe next time. I also added some more lines to his face for the extra grump factor. It adds more to the character, makes him more frowny and Geralt-y. The action man has a scar on his face, and I didn't want to remove it really, but thankfully it still ties into the design since Geralt is riddled with scars. I added some more scars to his face just because I could. The idea I had for his hair was to sculpt the top and add yarn to it. So I took the white yarn and added some grey pastels to it to dirty it up. Then I glued the yarn directly to his head. For the front, I wanted to glue yarn over the sculpture since I couldn't reroute it. This seemed like a really good idea at the time, but I'm not convinced it was the best idea. I probably should have sculpted the whole thing, but then there would be no movement, so it's good enough. If I'm making Geralt, I have to make Roach. To take off the factory paint with the horse, it won't work with acetone. Well, it will, but it will melt it, so it's not recommended. So I have to sand the eyes off the horse. I did most of this painting off camera because the horse is really too big to fit into frame. But I did my best to film some of it for you. To make the bridle, I used the one this horse came with as a template. I have a lot of little buckles and things I can use to make it look really cool. I just measured the strips against the plastic for reference. Then I sculpted a saddle out of Sculpey and glued the leather on, and that worked out pretty well. Here is what that looks like finished. Finally, I am using my sewing machine, and I tell you these pants took me all day. However, I did not want to hand stitch all those lines, so I did them on the machine. His top half looks to be leather armor, so I made a chest plate from Warbler, which I am covering with the same material I used for the pants, so he'll match. And the armor around his middle needed to be leather and chainmail. I couldn't make tiny chainmail, so I colored some fabric silver because it was flexible and looked pretty okay as tiny chainmail. I glued the chainmail onto the leather and sewed him right into the clothes. He has all sorts of belts and things on his armor, so I cut a load of strips and glued them in place too. For a more finished look, I used some little nail art details to add to the leather for studs. It looks like he has sort of knee and elbow pads too, which I also glued straight on. I didn't film it, but I remade his hands, as the Action Man base had bright orange gloved hands, which, thinking about it, I probably could have just painted. However, they were pretty big and clumsy, so I sculpted a lot of hands. I glued leather to these and painted them to match the blue of his armor, leather strips for details, and to cover a lot of the ugly parts. Finally, I painted more fabric for his armor, lined that with the same leather as his belt and straps, and glued those right on too. Now, he looks a little too clean, so it's time to dirty him up as though he's been in a fight, or many fights. I hate making shoes, I will not lie. I am no good at it because I never do it if I can help it, but I couldn't avoid it this time, so I used these cheap ones as a base. Sadly, they were too small for the doll, so I cut them up and used the top parts to make a pattern and the soles as new soles. I cut the patterns out of Warbler, and once they were in shape and stuck together, I added some Milliput for extra structure. Then all I had to do was glue the leather on. I did take my time making sure it was all smooth and in the right place. It's fine. I'm really not a fan of these shoes. I find that any shoes I make myself aren't great, but they'll get better eventually. Lastly, he needs his swords. And when I tell you this absolutely ruined my confidence in myself, it took me ages to get my mind back on track, which is why he only has one. I tried to make them myself, but I just absolutely couldn't. So my friend Steph of Lemon Kitten Creations actually took the time to find and 3D print a sword for me. So thank you, Steph, you saved me. I covered the blade with silver paint, then resin, then chrome powder to make it shiny. I did buy replica swords, but they were just far too big. But they did help me finish the misprint at the end of the sword and fit it into his hand, so I sculpted the rest of the handle and the pommel out of Milliput. I also did sculpt him a teeny tiny wolf pendant, but I didn't film it. And that is it. And here he is, all finished. It has been quite a struggle. I was not pleased with how he turned out until Will took pictures of him. Don't know how he does it, but he makes anything look fantastic, and I was feeling really low about it until I saw those pictures, and they wowed me. So you can't always make the best thing you've ever made every single time you make something, but I do like him. I don't think he turned out too badly. I think he's pretty good. Of course, the pictures were taken with Lemon Kitten Creations version of Yennefer, which was awesome. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed The Witcher Part 2 of Season 3. I haven't seen it yet because I'm recording it before it came out, so when I do see it, it'll be later. Let me know what you think about him in the comments down below. Remember, don't be a dick about it. Geralt has no time for dicks in the comments. Subscribe to this channel if you want to see more videos like this. Ring my bell. Actually do ring my bell, because I feel like people aren't getting notified when I post, which is a problem. So make sure you ring the bell, make sure you subscribe, and you can follow me on Instagram if you want to see more pictures of him. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for getting this far into this video. Sorry I was away for a while, but I'm back and I should be posting more regularly. Bye! I hope the Geralt of Rivia who comments on my videos comes back. Hello!